All right. Well, hey, everyone. My name is Nathan Jones, and welcome to another film journey. This time, I have my friend Stephanie from Movie Chatter. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's been a long time coming.
Yes, this has been quite a journey us getting to this point.
We've known each other for how long now?
About 2 years.
And we just started talking today, video chat or whatever.
Yes, video chat. We're joining everyone else with video chatting.
Yeah.
Yes, this is our first video chat.
Isn't that weird how it takes a pandemic to get people who pretty much have been friends online for a little bit to
Mm-hmm.
actually like talk to each other, not in a message.
Yes, it is. But it's nice.
It is nice.
It's
Yeah.
nice because it's kind of forced us to slow down and maybe carve out time for that more personal interaction. So I've enjoyed chatting with you.
Yeah, no, I've always enjoyed your videos and always liked just talking about kind of similar things where we watch different things. I
Mm-hmm.
remember back I remember when a couple years ago when I was doing like my October series. Do you remember that
Mm-hmm.
one?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're the one who introduced me to a specific film. Is it called Unchained?
Where you change the boy to the wall
Chained? Was
or
it
the
called?
bed?
Yeah.
Chained.
Yeah, it was called Chained. Yeah.
Chained.
Yeah, and it was like a low budget film, Australian film maybe?
Vincent D'Onofrio was in it,
Oh, it's Vincent D'Onofrio. Okay.
and he
Oh,
takes the kid and he chains him to the bed
right. And it's
for
like a
like.
really disturbing kind of movie.
Yeah, so you knew what you were in for then with me.
Yeah. Well, I just remember this. A lot of people are like, "What are you talking about right now?"
Yeah,
Well, the
exactly.
thing is, like, I remember that one of those memories early on, like interactions
Hmm.
with you, is like you're the one who like put me onto that film. Like, I know early on, you were really into horror films, and I
Hmm.
definitely like saw that side of you, and I'm like, okay, let's check out some of this because it's something that I'm not aware of whatsoever with.
So you were drawn to the horror films because that was new to you or
Yeah.
uncharted territory?
Yeah, so I was drawn to that because I had never really been like a Friday the 13th person or a Halloween
Wow.
person. Yeah,
Okay.
up until maybe when I saw your content, really.
Wow. Okay, because I grew up with all that, so that was like a mainstay, which is that's interesting. I never realized that that was something that kind of linked you up to my channel. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of it's unspoken too. It's really
Yeah.
weird because I feel like a lot of the people that we watch, and maybe some of our friends that are on YouTube right now, maybe
Hmm.
some of the people who are watching this right now, like are maybe they've been influenced by something that we've said or something that we've done, or vice versa, and
Right.
has got us into something. And I think that's
Hmm.
really cool.
That is very cool. That's very cool. I know you've opened my eyes to a lot of world cinema in particular.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who have helped me with that as well. So
Yeah,
I feel
trickle
like
down effect.
yeah, it's just helping each other out. So
Hmm.
today, I think you've watched the first time I did a film journey, but today I wanted to share a little bit of what you have to offer and what you have been doing your entire life with movies. And so with a film journey, I kind of want to explore kind of what your favorite films are, like where you kind of came about on film. And so let's just jump right there. So tell us a little bit about maybe your earliest memory of watching film.
Well, I watched a lot of we watched a lot of television or TV movies made for TV with my father as kids because he would babysit us at night. My mom worked nights, and he was always involved with the TV, and then it would go to TV movies. So I watched a lot of westerns growing up. And I tell people, I joke and I say my first concert was Johnny Cash, and I grew up on Gunsmoke. So those are kind of depending on how old you are, they're kind of abstract references. Not Johnny Cash, but Gunsmoke maybe.
Yeah, I know Gunsmoke is.
Yeah, well, we're on the same page with that. But and then I started to take my own turn, and of course, it went to the dark side towards horror.
Hmm.
So because Gunsmoke just didn't do it for me. But
It was
yeah,
a
so I
horror in a different light.
yeah, it was horrifying at
Right.
points. But it's funny because now I can sit down and watch a John Wayne movie and
Hmm.
appreciate it for what it is.
Right. Even if you
Hmm.
maybe aren't on the same page as you were when you
Right,
were younger, and
right. It's all
maybe
an experience.
Isn't that weird how you have you kind of go back to things, or like if you're open enough to go back to something that like maybe when you were younger you had a completely different experience with, just
Hmm.
because of where you were in life.
Yeah, subtitles.
Subtitles, yeah, for sure.
There was a day, and there were days when I was like, oh, it's subtitled. And now I'm like, it's subtitled. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
you know?
Um, but what do you have like any specific like early memory like of watching a specific thing that like, hey, this is the reason like I started getting into movies?
I remember when I believe it was the summer between fifth and sixth grade, and I convinced my grandmother to bring us to the theater during summer vacation to see Jaws. And that movie scared the life out of me, but I had to see it. I couldn't
Right.
even watch the trailer. I wouldn't go in the water. I've never been in the water since. It did its job. I have not been in water since I
And
saw
you're near
Jaws.
water too,
I
so
live three
watch out.
miles from water, and I will not go in the water. But it was working so hard to get my grandmother to take us to see that movie, and she did it. And I'm forever scarred by it, but I'm very happy that I had that experience.
And you have a Jaws poster in your movie room too, right?
Yeah, I have such a huge Jaws collection. I'm a Jaws fanatic, as are most people who love Jaws.
Well, I mean, it's I think one of my professors when I was in college told me that there is only like my favorite film of all time. This is him speaking. Is
Hmm.
like my favorite film of all time is Jaws because it's a perfect film, and like it's perfect for what it did and what it has done to society, like scaring the life out of you as a kid,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know. And
yeah.
there's nothing like it, you know.
No, and it's that whole. They were so on point with that cinematography. You don't see the shark for so long, but you have that impending doom, and they show the underwater shots of you're basically the point of view of the shark
Right.
coming up underneath the swimmers, and you see the legs. And that's why I can't go in the water, because I don't like not being able to see what's underneath me, because I envision that cinematography, that the shark coming up. It's stamped in my brain forever.
Right. And I can see this kind of go into a little bit of like maybe watching Halloween, where John
Oh,
Carpenter would
oh yeah.
do the same kind of thing where it's like you would be in Mike Myers' shoe.
Yep.
Michael Myers.
The mask. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So, okay, I completely just switched it out. Mike Myers is the Austin Powers, right?
Oh, Michael Myers is
Yes.
the Halloween killer.
Yes,
Yes.
that's why I was like, wait, I said
That's
Mike
who you're going
Myers.
for.
Yes, Michael Myers. Yes,
Hmm.
in Halloween, where
Hmm.
he kind of used the point of the view from Myers himself. You know, it's like it's a natural progression into something like that, right? Where it's like
It's
you're,
such an effective technique,
yeah, like less
and
is more. It
yeah.
helps. It helps with that anxiety so much more with the horror of it.
Yeah, because you have that, just that it's coming and you don't know when, and they don't rely on cheap jump scares, and it's just that whole setting that they create with their genius cinematography, and of course the scores, and that all makes for the whole experience, I think.
So when did like I mean obviously Jaws would be something that you're talking about right now with like cinematography and scores. When did you just start like when did you start noticing that element of film and movies?
The effectiveness of the, like, the technical end of it.
Yeah, when did you just like start being more aware of it? I mean obviously Jaws would be like that first example of, but were there anything else like early on that you're like, wow, this is really effective in like getting me into the movie magic, right?
I wasn't really as in tune with why I liked certain things until I took a film class in college. And we had to actually write down our thoughts and feelings and tell the professor what we experienced when we watched certain films, and what worked for you and what didn't. And they would play the same clip with the music and without the music,
Oh,
with the score and without the score, and
right.
you would feel the difference, how you felt with the right music and with nothing at all. So it was really, that's when we really started to pick apart films and see why certain things are so important.
Do you remember any of the films that you watched during that class?
I remember we watched Jaws, of course, like not the whole thing, but clips
Right.
of, and he showed us clips with the music muted.
Hmm.
And he's like, so there's people swimming, so what?
Right.
And it really makes for a different experience when you take that score out. And we watched some foreign films. We actually watched Seven Samurai.
Oh,
Was
excellent.
one of the films that we watched. And I can't recall the rest of them because we spent so much time like on one particular film, like Jaws. We would stay on it for
Right.
2 weeks, 3 weeks. So
Well, yeah, you were studying like you were breaking it all down, using the effective techniques of, what was this film class called? Do you remember exactly?
I really think it was just called film appreciation
Oh, okay.
because it was an elective.
Right.
And like we had music appreciation, film appreciation,
Hmm.
and I was always interested in film. And so naturally I took a film class because my favorite thing to do was always go to Blockbuster on Friday night, load up with movies and snacks and go home.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how much do you miss Blockbuster?
Oh, come on, right? I mean, I it's funny because I always had a joke with my friends that the counter person at Blockbuster always knew if I was dating because I wouldn't be there on Friday night. He'd
Oh,
be like, I'd go there on Monday or Tuesday. He'd be like, where were you Friday? You probably had a date because usually my Friday night date was 4 movies. But yeah, just being able to browse and see the new
mhm.
releases, and it has smell to it too.
Yeah, no, there's that. I worked at a record store, and
Yeah.
like it has remnant. Like obviously, record stores can smell kind of weird because there are certain types of people who like to go there too, who maybe don't bathe as much, but some of the products also have like a certain smell to it.
Right.
And yeah, no, I totally get that.
It's like the
That
carpet and the plastic cases, and then you have the buttered
right.
popcorn. And yeah, I miss video stores.
Yeah, no, there's actually a video store here where I live that still
Okay.
exists, but I haven't been there in a long time because obviously we have movies now.
I was going to say we are the video stores now. People want to
Right,
come
that's
over to
the
us.
ongoing joke.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of video stores, I mean, and Blockbuster, do you have any like specific memories with that? Like any particular movies that have like a good association or like a bad one that has like a story to it?
Um, I remember my brother getting a hold of my Blockbuster card and renting movies with him and not returning them.
Ooh,
So I had to pay his late fees. So that was not a good memory because they were quite substantial because he had
right.
a habit of just taking the movies and not returning them. So I ended up buying movies that I never saw.
Yeah, that happened with me when I was really young. I think my mom like rented Indian in the cupboard.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know what it was, but like we somehow kept it, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, did we just never return this, mom? and,
And I do
and
remember when Titanic came out on VHS
the double pack.
and you had to change. I had to go rent the two movies, and I remember changing them at the midway point, and I
Right.
don't miss any of that.
No, or rewinding things, right?
Yeah, be kind, rewind.
For some reason, I always thought that my VCR was going to blow up.
Oh, you didn't have a separate rewinder that you would just put it in?
No.
Oh, that was high tech.
Oh
Because
yeah, I wasn't rich enough growing up for that.
well, my father didn't want us breaking anything because
Uh-huh.
he was always sure we were going to break it, and so don't break it, don't rewind in there. So he brought a separate rewinder, and we would put the tape in, and because the same thing, I always thought that the tape was just going to snap the VCR in half.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I
we had the
just
separate one.
that's nice to have though. Yeah, no, this is all like kind of flooding back my memories of VHSs and the Titanic double pack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be a memory that I had, the certain ones that had the double packs.
yeah.
That was a
I
big one because that was
I
a
even yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say that like I even have memories of like do you remember A Bug's Life having like 10 different VHS covers, collectible ones?
I don't remember that. I didn't
Um,
collect VHSs because I was very busy taping TV on my blank
oh.
VHSs. I was one of those. I was a bootlegger.
So what shows did you tape or
Oh,
movies?
every episode of The Simpsons.
Ooh, yeah.
And then anything I could grab off of HBO.
Oh
Like if
yeah.
they're like HBO specials or things that like if I wasn't allowed to watch it, I would tape it and then
Hmm.
I'd take it up in my room and watch it.
Man,
Yeah.
HBO. I don't I didn't
HBO.
I didn't get that. But I mean when I was a kid, occasionally we would get like free months of it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, we'll just say it was not safe for work, and everyone knows what's going on with
Yeah.
growing up with HBO. So
Yep. Yeah, we had HBO running wild in our house.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, so was there any particular turning point that you would say, like recently, or maybe that you're like, wow, okay, I'm gonna start collecting these things now?
I would say it was when I bought my first DVD player. And I remember I bought it at the Wiz. Do you remember the Wiz stores?
I don't remember the Wiz stores. I do remember
Circuit City?
Circuit City and why can't I think of the name? It's like right there. Starts with an H.
I don't
It's like
know.
it was like a Best Buy kind of a thing.
Okay.
Oh no, it's like right there. But anyway, go on.
Well, we had maybe it was just an East Coast thing because I'm on the East Coast. So
Right,
had
Midwest.
we had the Wiz, and
Okay.
because I think the guy lived on Long Island who owned it, and I went to the Wiz and I bought a DVD player, which was a huge leap because none of my friends had it, and I had to have it. And it came with three DVDs. It came with I want to say The Devil's Advocate, maybe The Firm with Tom Cruise,
Tom Cruise. Yeah, yeah.
and it may have had another Tom Cruise movie, but I remember The Devil's Advocate and The Firm. And when I saw the difference between DVD and VHS and how easy it was and how beautiful it looked, I mean, DVD was all the rage when it came out. And I'm like, I have a menu and I can skip and I can
Yeah.
go where I want to. Then I wanted to own everything. And I talked to a friend, a guy at my gym, and he goes, I have 50 DVDs on my shelf. And I'm like, well, I'm going to get 100. So we would go back and forth and we would tell each other what to buy. He would come in with a list every week and he'd be like, you got to get this and this and this and this. So
Wow.
yeah, that's when the swapping shopping list started. And it's still going today.
That reminds me. Yeah. Well, eventually, when I have my own discovery journey, this reminds me of an old manager of mine who had
Mm-hmm.
much like this, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to beat him.
Yep.
Like I'm
Yeah.
like I have to. Like I don't know
Yeah.
why. Like I looked up to him, so like honestly, that's kind of where that came from. But yeah, no,
Yeah. This guy this guy that I knew at the gym, he had such vast film knowledge, and anything he told me about, I loved it. And I don't know going back if some of them held up because I watched a few recently. I can't remember the names, but
hmm
I was like, yeah, all right, we'll see.
right.
But back in the day, he would tell me about these films, and I'm like, wow, these are great. And so my collection started, and it went from a shelf to a rack to a corner and up the wall. So that's
Yeah.
how it started, DVD.
Yeah, actually, I just remembered the store Hastings.
We didn't
That's
have that.
Yeah, we had Hastings in the Midwest, so
Okay.
it's like a Best Buy.
Okay.
And it went away kind of when Netflix started becoming a thing with the delivery, Netflix
Mm-hmm.
delivery, like
Mm-hmm.
before all the streaming stuff. But
Yeah.
and Blockbuster went away,
Right.
But yeah, no. And so when do you think you were like, okay, well, now I'll make a transition from DVD to Blu-ray? When do you remember that?
I do. I remember when Blu-ray started to pop up, and do you remember they were like $30 and up a
hmm
piece? They were so expensive. And what ended up happening is the prices of the DVDs came down.
hmm
So I was able to just go nuts with my collection. And then what happened at the same, like about the time that Blu-ray came out, we had HD DVD. Remember
Oh yeah,
that?
yeah, I do
The
remember that.
HD Blu-ray war.
hmm
I always liked the picture of HD
Oh no.
DVD more than Blu-ray. And I mean, I love Blu-rays. I mean, I have walls of Blu-rays, but
Right.
I started to build an HD DVD collection, and I still have it. And
Oh, that's cool.
I still have my Toshiba player because there was only two HD players, and I
hmm
bought that. And the prices of the HDs were lower, and I didn't know it was because they were going out of business. So I thought, look at me. I'm going on this new route and I'm collecting all these awesome films that I would end up rebuying on Blu-ray
hmm
because HD just went out of business. And then I switched over to Blu-ray shortly thereafter because I think the prices kind of leveled off a little bit
hmm
once they took over the market.
Do you remember your first Blu-ray?
I do. Wanted.
Wanted with
Wanted.
Angelina Jolie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excellent.
And I still own the copy.
Oh yeah, nice. My
Mm-hmm.
first one was Avatar.
Okay. Good pick.
I'm like, well, yeah, I think it was around 2009 too when I got my first Blu-ray because I
Mm-hmm.
was definitely on the DVD train. I didn't even go to HD DVD.
Yeah.
just because I don't know. I mean, I remember the war, but I wasn't super cognitive of it. And honestly,
Hmm.
it's the same kind of thing with 4K, where it's like I'm kind of still not super invested in it. Like, you know,
Hmm.
I have like maybe 20 4Ks, but
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it's like I'm still still on the the past a little bit, you know, with something like what's behind us. But I feel like it's sustained itself. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think I if we look at the whole picture, I think Blu-ray is still the sweet spot.
Hmm.
I think also because if you're, and this is just my opinion, I'm not a professional, I don't know tech, I'm not, I'm not putting myself out there as a tech guru, certainly, but I also think that because we're using 4K TVs, 4K
Hmm.
players, and you have the upscaling that goes on, even a regular Blu-ray, I think just looks so much better on the 4K equipment.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So how much of an upgrade are you going to get by going and then rebuying that movie in 4K is what I usually ask myself before I do it.
Right. And honestly, like the 4Ks that I own are like the ones that are like super worth it. Like these are like classic
Right.
films. So like I do want to get that that new Lawrence of Arabia. That would be really really cool to get on 4K. It's like there are certain
The
films, you
the
know.
whole set or just Lawrence of Arabia?
Well, maybe the whole set, but I don't know. I've already spent too much money, as you know.
Well, we're all doing it.
Right. But yeah, I just got Interstellar because it was on sale on Amazon
Hmm.
for like $14 or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I'll upgrade it for that. Like, you know, I like that movie. So, but what are you currently watching like right now? Like, what is, I guess, over the last few years, you know, obviously you've been on YouTube
Hmm.
and you've, you know, developed some different viewing patterns probably like, you know, like all of us, like we have certain, um, you know, times where like, hey, I'm really into like this month, I'm really into noirs, or like this month, I'm really into horror even more, even though you've been into horror the whole time, you know,
Hmm.
but like, is there anything currently right now that like you are really enjoying?
Like you said, it's very seasonal.
Hmm.
That is new for me because I used to just watch whatever I felt like watching on whatever day. And now I do find myself, if there's a Criterion sale, I'm binging Criterions. If it's Halloween, I'm doing 30 days or 31 days of horror, kind of what the community does. I kind of roll with what the community's doing. But if I had to stop and think, I'm definitely more invested in world cinema
Hmm.
than I ever have been. I'm seeking out more world cinema than I have in the past.
Is there
It's
any like
definitely.
particular directors or movies that you have enjoyed recently?
um I like Ozu a lot.
Okay,
Uh, um,
Yashujiro Ozu.
Ozu.
Yeah,
I think we both like Abbas Kiarostami.
yeah, we love
Kind of
Kiarostami.
we're delving into that a little more. So those are two newer ones for me. Um, and I've been getting to know a little more about Kiarostami. I've been watching some films that are not on the Criterion Collection, so trying to get into that.
And I
And
get, yeah, sorry, go
go
on.
ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask if, like, you know, obviously we have little phases and whatnot, but do you think that, you know, just being in this community is just in general, can certainly influence or like kind of help be like, oh wow, these people are checking out this, and like I have never really thought about going in this direction at all in my life, because that recently that's been me with, you know, ESPN 30 for 30s. I've been watching sports, which
Hmm.
I never thought I was going to be that way.
Not that guy.
No, never.
You know what I think? I think it's a good thing and a bad thing,
Hmm.
because certainly when you watch other people or you're exposed to other things that maybe you haven't found on your own, it will open doors for you that you didn't even know existed. But then you also run the risk. It's a slippery slope, as you know, because then you can end up wanting to buy everything that
Right.
everybody shows. And I think you have to know where that balance is. What do I want to do? What realistically, how much can you watch?
Right.
You know,
It's a challenge.
am I going to watch all 50 films that are in my cart? Probably not. So cut it down. And then, I just think you have to temper yourself a little bit because it's easy to get caught up in it because there's so many great things out there.
And do you feel like there's a personality type that exists in this type of community? where maybe a lot of us are a little bit more open towards just discovering things?
I think, yeah, probably more creative, artistic, more open-minded, willing to explore other things besides the next great Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they're not great. We've talked about that.
Yeah,
They're great movies. It's
those are.
a awesome, but there's so much more that we're not always exposed to because they're not shown in our cinemas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our cinemas tend to show, at least by me, they show the big budget films, the summer blockbusters, things like that. And I think by being in our movie community, and because people are all over the world, we are able to connect with each other through our love of movies and maybe find things that we wouldn't find otherwise on our own because we just wouldn't know to look for it.
Yeah, no,
So,
I like that element of
yeah,
what we're doing.
yeah, I think it's really great. I mean, I've met some great people and found some great movies based on suggestions.
Yeah.
So that's why when I do my videos, I always ask for recommendations because I found some great movies just from viewers saying to me, hey, if you like that, check this out. And
Mm-hmm.
you check it out and it's great. So
Speaking
that's a
of your
good thing.
favorite movie, I'm going to shift gears just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is your favorite film of all time?
Baraka.
Baraka?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I have seen Baraka and I really love it. So I wanted to hear it from you why you love Baraka.
Why do I love Baraka? I found Baraka at a time in my life when I needed it the most. I needed to learn to settle and just appreciate life and my surroundings. And that film gave that to me. Probably because there's no dialogue and you cannot escape being caught up in the moment. You have to stay with it. You can't kind of wane in and out when you're watching it. You just have to stay focused on the moment that's going on. And that's what I took away from that. And I started to kind of take that and apply it to real life. I rode around for months and months, maybe even a year in my car with that soundtrack playing all the time in my car, just
It's
because it would take me back to the movie.
it's a move that really requires no words like just to describe it.
Right.
Yeah, and so I
Right.
understand how transcendent it is.
And I did not have the same experience with the companion piece, Samsara.
Samsara, yeah,
I enjoyed Samsara, and it definitely lives up to its title, but it didn't grab me like Baraka. I like it, but it didn't hold my attention like Baraka did.
you think it was because it came at a specific time and you kind of didn't know what to expect?
Um, I think to me, and this is just me personally,
Mm-hmm.
Samsara feels a little bit more chaotic, but like I said, it fits the title. So where Baraka to me was soothing and it leads you on a path and you grow with the path and you develop with the movie. I felt like Samsara was very chaotic and all over the place, or at least that's how I felt when I was watching it. And I've watched it so many times thinking, all right, this is going to be the time, this is going to be the time. And I never got into the groove of it. The flow, the pacing felt weird.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if
So
you experienced that or not.
I've only seen Samsara once. I've only seen
Okay.
both of the films once.
Okay.
And I'd have to revisit them both
Mm-hmm.
to get those different, I guess, energies to,
Right.
just the different, maybe the more chaotic and more soothing side of those films. But I guess, with that being your favorite film, Baraka, like,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you described like what it did to you and how it helped you appreciate, just relax, like
Mm-hmm.
enjoy this, what's going on in the world, even like there's a lot of beauty that exists out there. And
Mm-hmm.
it can be expressed through the lens of a camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so why is it, like, besides Baraka, like, do you have a specific um, film that you have to recommend to anybody else?
In any genre,
Anything, yeah.
my go-tos are going to be now just going in the total opposite direction. We're going to
Right.
have Halloween, Friday the 13th, Jaws,
Hmm.
uh, Goodfellas. We're going to throw in there Goodfellas over The Godfather.
Oh
I
yeah,
have to
that's
say, I don't know.
every one of these things that I'm going to be doing is going to have a hot take. you know,
Okay.
and that,
I mean, and then the hard thing is I've been trying to integrate, like I said, world cinema into my channel's content, and I try to kind of do like one title at a time, because I find that a lot of people will say, "Oh, but I don't want to watch it because it's subtitled," and I do understand that, because, like we said, we've been there.
mhm.
But I think the nice thing is that Parasite, I think, changed that for a lot of people,
Yeah, absolutely.
because so many people were willing to sit and deal with the subtitles to see this film that had so much footing under it. And I think that now people that weren't open to it at all, I'm seeing them say, "Oh, well, what else can I watch? I don't care if it's subtitled." And I think that's a great thing, because I think world cinema is so important. And I think Parasite did a great deal for that.
No, that movie made me very, very proud.
Hmm.
Just as, you know, somebody who, like us, you know, we are accustomed to maybe subtitles,
Hmm.
whereas most people are not, if
Hmm.
they're not really into those worlds, especially in America at least.
Right.
Um, so, like, you know, it winning those awards, those accolades, it really opened the eyes for a lot of people. And, you know, like stuff like that, or maybe like you'll see. I'm literally blanking, right?
Like, right.
Miyazaki films.
Right. And Del Toro films.
Yeah, Del Toro films.
They're
Yeah.
very accessible. Like Pan's Labyrinth is very accessible.
Hmm.
And so many people are open to watching that, and maybe, 10 years ago wouldn't have been.
Right.
So I think that those types of films, I think they're real game changers. And I think, and especially to see, like you said, Parasite winning all these American awards, it was amazing. It was a great moment for film.
Right.
So I think it was awesome. I think it was huge.
And I just hope it just keeps continuing that way too. So
I agree. I agree. We need more diversity shown in American cinemas,
absolutely.
because I think we're very pigeonholed when it comes to what we're exposed to. And I think, it- you know, I think this could be a big thing if the theaters ever open up again.
Right. That's the sad part.
Yeah, let's pray for our cinemas.
Yep. Let's pray for our sins.
Yeah,
Cinemas.
cinemas.
Yeah. So I guess this leads to the ultimate question of the current moment of things.
Hmm.
Um, where do you think movies or films in your life today, what do they do for you? Do they help you inform you on the world? Do they help you relax? Like, what do they do for you?
Well, I think they do a lot of things. I was not a person who was raised in a house where we traveled. Like, our big family vacation that we went on was one year we went to Disney as a family, because I
Mhm.
mean, to take a family of four to Disney, it was a lot of money. And my parents were working class people. We weren't people of money. So cinema has always kind of given me the opportunity to see places that I would never see, and experience things that I would never otherwise experience. I can see other cultures, other places in the world that maybe can go on my bucket list for things that I want to see in person. And I think it provides all of that. And especially, we're in a time right now when pretty much we're lucky if we can go to the food store without worrying,
Right.
let alone hop on a plane and go halfway around the world.
Hmm.
But you go down in your basement, you pull the right film, you can go anywhere you want to go at any time and see whatever you want to see. And I think that that's really special. And I think it shows us things that we otherwise wouldn't be able to see.
I
So,
think that aligns very well with your choice for Baraka. You know.
yeah, it's all kind of a circle,
Hmm.
you know.
Well, do you have any last thoughts about the current state of things, or
The
like
current state of things.
yeah?
Well, it's rough. When people ask what they should watch, because I know everybody's kind of, we're all watching more and more and more and more, because there's not a whole lot to do outside the house.
Hmm.
Um, and what I say is, you know what? Watch what you feel. Like, if you need comedy, watch a comedy. If you need to lighten it up, just watch something that turns your brain off. If you want to travel, put on a world cinema film. I think that it provides right now the whatever escapism we need at the moment, because we don't have a lot of outlets. I think we're all kind of just stuck waiting to see what happens on the other side, what the new normal is going to be.
Right.
But films will always be there.
Yeah.
You
And
know, we can always access them. So I think it's a really great thing. And I don't do TV, as you know, so films, that's where it's at.
Well, I mean, I couldn't put it in better words myself. So I want to say thank you so much for coming on and doing your film journey with me.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Where can we find you?
We can find me, Movie Chatter on YouTube.
And you anywhere else?
Oh, Instagram,
Yeah.
Movie Chatter, and I have it all in my description box. All my
And I'll put that down here too. Everybody who's
okay.
watching.
Yeah, I have a Letterboxd account, but I haven't quite delved in. I just put my films that I've watched. I'm just getting into Letterboxd, so soon, coming soon.
Yes, that was me this year. I had just started. Like I've known about Letterboxd for years, and I just have not done it until like February of this year.
Yep. I just have to commit to do it.
And now it's like I have to do it because otherwise I will forget what I did.
Yeah, so that's coming soon. So really, it's YouTube and Instagram.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and I'm really happy that I got a chance to talk to you. It's been long overdue.
Yes, we'll have to do it again.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for watching this video, and I hope you are able to go check out Stephanie's channel, Movie Chatter, and it's down in the description down below. And tell her, I guess you sent other people to the channel, but like we're both doing it, so
We're doing it.
Yeah. All right. Well, give this video a like, comment down below, share this video, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you next time. I'm not joking around.